Have you ever wondered about the first siblings' rivalry recorded in history? The story begins in Genesis chapter 4. We are introduced to Adam and Eve's first sons, Cain and Abel. Cain, the elder, chose the path of the soil, dedicating his days to farming and tilling the earth. Abel, on the other hand, found his calling among the flock, becoming the first shepherd. These were the world's first professions, the initial division of labor in the nascent human society. This was a time of firsts, a time of exploration, a time when the concept of brotherhood was born, fresh and untested. Yet amidst the camaraderie and shared blood there was more at play. The seeds of discord were sown subtly, almost imperceptibly. But as we soon find out, this isn't just a tale of brotherly love. There's a dark twist lurking in the shadows. Gifts to the divine were an integral part of life, but what happens when one is favored over the other? In the world's first family, two brothers, Cain and Abel, decided to present offerings to God. Cain, who tilled the ground, brought forth the fruits of his labor, an offering from the bounty of his land. Abel, on the other hand, was a shepherd, and he chose to present God with the firstborn of his flock, the cream of his labor. It was the heart behind the gifts that mattered most, not necessarily the gifts themselves. To Abel's delight and Cain's dismay, God looked with favor upon Abel's offering, the firstborn lamb, but he did not regard Cain's offering in the same light. This favoritism sparked a flame of discontent in Cain, a spark that would soon grow into a raging fire. A seed of envy and anger was planted in Cain's heart, setting the stage for a shocking act. A brother's resentment leads to an unthinkable act. Can you imagine the horror of the world's first crime? Allow me to paint a chilling picture. Two brothers, Cain and Abel, are at the heart of our tale. Cain, the tiller of the ground, was consumed with a resentment that grew like a weed in his heart. His offering of fruits was not looked upon with favor by God, unlike his brother Abel's offering of the firstlings of his flock. The seeds of envy were sown, and they took root deep within Cain, twisting and turning into a monstrous vine. The resentment, the envy, the anger, it all came to a head in a devastating climax. One day, as the brothers were out in the field, Cain's rage spilled over. In a fit of fury, he did the unthinkable. He raised his hand against his own flesh and blood. Abel, the shepherd, fell victim to his brother's wrath, marking the world's first recorded act of murder. Subsequently, God questioned Cain about Abel's whereabouts. The audacity of Cain's response echoes through the annals of history. Am I my brother's keeper? It was a blatant defiance, a denial of responsibility, an attempt to hide his heinous act from the all-knowing God. Cain's act of defiance against God led to a punishment that would change his life forever. What happens when you defy the divine? Cain was about to find out. In the aftermath of his heinous act, God handed down a punishment befitting the gravity of Cain's crime. He was sentenced to a life of restless wandering, a nomad forevermore. From a tiller of the ground, he was now destined to be a drifter on the earth. But divine justice is not devoid of mercy. Even in his wrath, God showed compassion, ensuring Cain's survival. He marked Cain with an unmistakable sign. This mark was not a brand of shame, but rather a safeguard, a divine decree that no one should take his life in vengeance. It was a paradox, this mark of Cain, a symbol of divine punishment, yet also a badge of divine protection. This mark has been the subject of much speculation and interpretation throughout the ages. Some believe it was a literal mark on Cain's body, others suggest it was a change in his countenance or demeanor. Regardless of its form, the mark served its purpose. It was a constant reminder of Cain's sin, a symbol of his banishment, and a protective shield all at once. And so Cain, the firstborn of all humanity, was left to wander the earth, bearing the weight of his actions and the mark of his punishment.
Subscribe to the channel for more video, and please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this.